Hello and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a relatively new product from Infinity Wax, their wheel shampoo. And to do this I'm going to be putting it up against what I would consider a market leading wheel shampoo from Garage Therapy. I'm going to do 4 or 5 different comparisons and see if we can tell the difference between the two products at the end of the day, see if one's better than the other and see if this is worthwhile you buying it. Okay, so like I said in the intro, this is going to be essentially a very first use for me of Infinity Wax's new product, the wheel shampoo. And for the first few tests that we're going to carry out, this is what we're going to do them on. The Track Impreza wheel with caked on brake dust. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to measure out a solution of each different shampoo for use in the IK foamer. Now, the Infinity Wax wheel shampoo doesn't give any specific instructions for using with an IK foamer, but based on what they recommend to go into your bucket, I'm going to go with a flat 2% panel impact ratio for both of these products. So that'll be 5 ml of product to 250 ml of water. For the Garage Therapy one here, I'm having to pour it into the lid because my syringe doesn't go down far enough to get the solution out of the bottle. These two particular solutions that I'm making up at the moment are going to be used for a couple of different tests. Firstly, they're going to be used just as a direct spray onto the wheel to see if they remove any of the kind of surface grime that's there. They're then going to be used in the IK foamer, and they're then going to be used the next day in the IK foamer. If you're somebody who's not used Garage Therapy before, then you won't know that if you leave Garage Therapy overnight and then go back to use it the next day or the next week, the foam out of the IK foamer is vastly reduced from a fresh batch. So I want to see if that's also true for Infinity Wax. So getting on to the first test, and all I'm doing is taking a syringe full of each solution, spraying it into the barrel, and then I'm going to leave it for a few minutes before rinsing it off to see if it has any impact on the brake dust within these wheels. Now, I don't know the last time these wheels have been washed, certainly not since I've owned the car, and as you can see, they're in a bad way. But let's see if this solution at 2% panel impact ratio is going to have any kind of effect on that brake dust. And to be honest, neither solution looks like it's done any at that 2%. You can even see where my finger swipe is there, and I'm just trying to map out in my head where the solution ran down the barrel, but not had a great effect at just that 2% PIR. Moving on to the next test, this is going to be cleaning the wheels from the IK foamer. The first solution that we're using here is the Infinity Wax solution. Even although the wheels are off the car, I'm going to go through my regular wheel cleaning routine, which for me is the tyres first, followed by doing the inner barrels, and then doing the spokes and the kind of outer barrel area. And for me, the foam went on no problem. You would have seen in that little bit of sped up footage that in the time that it took me to go back and get my tyre brush, the foam had already started falling off. So that was about a minute or so of dwell time on the foam and it was starting to fall off already. But just picking the products up there, and certainly I don't have any issue with the lubrication that the foam's provided throughout this wash process. And then just rinsing this off outside, and then because of the luxury of it, inside, setting it to the side and then going on to the next wheel and applying the Garage Therapy 1 wheel shampoo. Now instantly what I've noticed with the Garage Therapy 1 wheel shampoo is that the foam is a little bit thicker and it seems to be a little bit stickier. You're actually in the sped up footage at the moment and that foam's just not budging. Again, I'm just going to do the exact same wheel routine that I did when I used the Infinity Wax wheel shampoo, starting with the tyres, getting into the barrels and finishing up with the faces of the wheels. And again, I've used Gary's Therapy shampoo many times. I'm on my second or third bottle of the stuff. I really rate it. You can see that the suds are carrying along much more on this, but what I've noticed after rinsing the wheel off is that inside and outside, both wheels have a very similar level of cleanliness to them, to the fact that if I went back and looked at these wheels on another time, somebody jumbled them up for me, I wouldn't be able to tell you which one was done with Gary's Therapy one wheel shampoo and which one was done with the Infinity Wax wheel shampoo. Just giving the wheels a rub there with my fingers to see if any dirt comes off on them. The barrels are a different story. They've been very much abused by track days, but the faces of the wheels are well clean enough, and the barrels, they've actually had a really good crack at the barrels as well. Quite impressed with how both products got on with the barrels. So we're on to the next day, and as you can see, I'm now with a real car, with some real car testing on a car that's not had the wheels cleaned in around 2 weeks. Now, the instructions for Infinity Wax only says add 25 to 50 ml to a wash bucket and clean your wheels using a microfiber mitt or gentle wheel brush. The Gary's Therapy instructions, on the other hand, are a little bit more in-depth with a little bit more dilutions. So what we've done is we've went for the same amount of product in each bucket. I've put 10 litres of water in each bucket, and I'll be putting 12.5 millilitres of product into each bucket, which keeps the test fair. Both of these products are the same price, so it keeps the cost per wash the same, and it should technically keep the panel impact ratio the same as well. So we'll do it that way and we'll see how we get on with them. The first thing that we're going to do here is get both of the buckets foamed up, because one thing that I want to check later on is I'm going to keep these buckets in the garage and see how long the foam lasts in them, see how long they stay foamy for, so to speak. So getting the Gary's Therapy one done first there, and then the Infinity Wax foamed up nice, so that they're both sitting at about the same level of foam before we even start the wash. Now for this, I'm going to be doing one front wheel and one back wheel. I know the front wheel gets more abuse than the back wheel, but there's method behind the madness. So the front wheel, I'm going to use the Infinity Wax products first. The Infinity Wax wheel shampoo, I'm going to use that first on the front wheel. And again, I'm going to follow the same wheel washing routine that I always do. So just giving it a quick rinse over to knock off anything loose. Then have a quick look at the wheel just to see the dirtiness levels of it. You can see there's some ingrained brake dust and tar spots there. We'll see how the product deals with those. Again, going with the exact same wheel washing routine as I did the last time. Make sure you dunk your brushes right in the water to pick up your solution, so that you're not just spreading foam everywhere, because you're not going to get much out of that. Using the wheel barrel brush first, then going to move on to doing the tyres this time. For some reason I've done the barrels first before the tyres, I don't know what was going on in my head there. Then moving on to the tyres, again the brush is already in the solution, so picking it up, just giving it a good dunk, making sure that I'm picking up plenty of solution and giving the tyres a really good scrub. Before moving on to the faces, and I'm using a small noodle mitt from KDN Detailing for this one. Getting in all the spokes and all the faces, and finally I'm going to move on to picking up the detailing brush just to get in around about those lug nuts. Now this product, I found it extremely nice to use out of the bucket. It was very slick going across the wheel. There was, as you can see, loads of suds produced, and do you know what, just a generally enjoyable product to use as a maintenance wheel washing product. The only thing that I did notice after giving the wheels a good blast off with a pressure washer is that it wasn't powerful enough to take off any of that ingrained brake dust. But that's obviously been on there for a while, so quite clearly none of the products that I have in my arsenal are good enough to deal with that at the moment. But these wheels are in need of a refurb anyway, so that's going to be coming soon. So I'm not particularly bothered about that kind of bump in brake dust at this moment. We're now on to the garage therapy products, and the whole point in doing the front wheel and the rear wheel is that so that I could stick to one side of the car. All I'm doing at the moment is seeing how these products feel to use. I already know that garage therapy is a good product, and what I'm trying to do is compare the Infinity Wax product to the garage therapy product. And honestly, if I mixed up those buckets, I 100% would not be able to tell the difference between the two products at this particular moment. They both feel very, very similar to use. The slickness is there, the suds is there, and the cleaning power is very similar on both products. So just finishing up with this rear wheel there, and then what I'm going to do is go back to the front wheel, and I'm just going to show you using the garage therapy products on that area where there's that ingrained embedded brake dust, that yes, the Infinity Wax product didn't take them off, but neither did the garage therapy products. So again, I think they have a very similar level of cleaning ability. And then just as I've finished up, this is the level of suds that's left in both buckets at the end of the wash. So moving on to the next test, and that is how effective are these products at cleaning tyres. Now you can see going round the tyre there, this is the garage therapy one first, the foam was turning nice and brown there. Same thing again with the Infinity Wax wheel shampoo, and again the foam is turning brown. There is definitely some dirt being pulled out of that, both of those tyres. Now the true test for this is going to come up next. Yes, I now know that they can pull the dirt out of the tyres, but how much dirt have they pulled out of the tyres? So applying the same amount of sprays to each tyre, I think it was 7, with the Auto Glands Rebound, and then going to go over the tyres again and see just how dirty they still are, and they're still very, very dirty. So not particularly great tyre cleaners. If your tyres have been abused, you would need something a lot more powerful, a lot more potent, like a tyre cleaner or like a strong APC and a good few goings over. I think you'd be there all day if you were trying to clean that with the wheel shampoos. But again, very, very similar results for both products. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this is day 2, and this is the garage therapy product. As you can see, the garage therapy product looks an awful lot cloudier than the Infinity Wax product, and the garage therapy product goes on an awful lot thicker than what it did yesterday. The Infinity Wax product goes on very similarly, but again, it does look as if it falls off very quickly. Honestly, the way these two products came out of the IK foamer was one of the only ways that I could differentiate between the two. Alright, so realistically, how do I feel about the Infinity Wax wheel shampoo? Honestly, I think it's a good product. It's very, very similar to the garage therapy product in terms of the way that it feels when using it. The cleaning abilities of both wheels is very similar. Like I mentioned back in the video, the only way that I could realistically differentiate between the two was the way that they came out of the IK foamer and the way that the garage therapy product clung onto the wheel a little bit more, whereas the Infinity Wax product seemed to fall off the wheel a little bit faster. Which brings me on to a few other points. The Infinity Wax product, the instructions are very lacking. What I read to you at the start of the video, put 25 to 50 ml into your wheel bucket at the start of the wash and then on you go. That's the only instructions that there is. If you go onto the website, it also tells you that the product can be used in the IK foamer, but there is absolutely no dilution rates. It doesn't tell you how much to use per 500 ml or whatever. So I think if there's one thing that Infinity Wax could improve, it would be the instructions to the user. If you go into Gary's Therapy's instructions, there is a comprehensive list of instructions on how to use this product. If you're using it in the bucket for lightly soiled wheels, for medium soiled wheels, for heavily soiled wheels. If you're using it in the IK foamer, there is a specific set of instructions for each scenario using the Gary's Therapy product. And I think Infinity Wax's product could benefit from a similar set of instructions. Apart from that, I enjoyed using the product. Thought it was a good product, I thought it cleaned well, and I'm going to continue to use it and just see how I got on with it. I'm going to experiment with a few different kind of dilutions. I'm going to, well, different PIRs. I'm going to put some different volumes of product into the wash bucket. I'm going to see if it can be a little bit better of a cleaner for track wheels and stuff like that. But apart from that, very enjoyable product to use. If you're in the market for a wheel shampoo, I would definitely consider it. Between that and Gary's Therapy, I think they're both great products. There is other great products out there as well. High Definition Detail Breakthrough is also a fantastic wheel shampoo, and I'm sure there's many more that I've not had the pleasure of using yet. But these two in particular, I really enjoy using them. The Gary's Therapy one has been a staple in my arsenal for a while, and the Infinity Wax product looks as if it's going to be there for a while as well now. So I know I'm blathering on a little bit, I'm going to wind it up here. I do hope you've enjoyed the video. If you do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm so close to that 1,000 subscribers, and that's my goal, to get to 1,000 subscribers was the target. So if you can help me out by clicking that subscribe button, that would be awesome. Anyway, like I said, I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, we'll see you on the next one.